All right, man, peace. You know, brother, sports is a lot like theater. You need very vivid and colorful characters to stand out so that people are drawn to your production. And over the course of time, we all know that various types of athletes stand out in their own way. Some athletes are naturally charismatic. Some athletes naturally are able to incite a level of dislike or antipathy in the viewer. And some athletes, they just get hated on for whatever reason. It might be because of their style of play. It might be because of their look. When it comes to James Harden of the Houston Rockets, it may be a combination of things. James Harden is a player who has embraced a lot of skullduggery, a lot of craftiness in his style. He likes to initiate contact and then act as if he's the one who got hit. He's somebody who likes to flail and flop around. He's also a player who has come up woefully short in crunch time moments, all the way back from his last season with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think that when you combine all those factors together, that's part of the reason why oftentimes people are so eager to quote unquote hate on him. So of course they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
So Scottie, James might be one of the most polarizing players in the league, and forget fans. I know that players amongst themselves have wide berth of opinions on him.
Of course, because when you watch James Harden play, James Harden's one of those guys that if you played in the 90s and you were a great defender like a Scottie Pippen, you look at him and you say, if I could have defended him back in 1992, I would have shut him down. Because he's big, he's slow. He's somebody who needs the referees on his side. He likes to flop and flail. He's a player with no honor. That's how somebody like a Scottie Pippen would think about a James Harden, in my view, within the recesses of his mind. But in reality, James Harden's one of those guys who's faster than he looks on television. He's stronger than he looks on television. And he's a better athlete than he gets credit for.
So after what he has done in the past month, is he starting to win even his biggest haters over?
Well, eventually James Harden is going to start to get a lot of accolades, especially as he gets older. He's nearing 30 years old. So this is normally around the time where athletes, they start to get a lot of accolades and credit for career achievements. But I think that overall, players both past and present understand what James Harden brings to the game. He truly is a product of his environment. In this current NBA, he's the quintessential NBA player. He only goes for layups or three-point shots. He has an extremely tricky handle. He knows how to get onto the free throw line. He's very physical in spots, and he's very potent. He can shoot, pass, and dribble. So in this current NBA, he's the quintessential offensive player. Now back in the 90s, he would have had to have been able to post up, which he cannot do at all. I'm not quite sure if I've ever even seen James Harden score in a post position where he has his back to the basket.
Well, I think he's been a winner the whole time. I mean,
Stop lying.
James Harden is the best one-on-one player in the NBA.
I would agree with that. At one time, I would have said no, Kyrie Irving, but no, James Harden is the best one-on-one player in the NBA.
I mean, the fact that he's such a difficult guard, the fact that he makes other players better. I mean, he's made Capello one of the most valuable bigs in the game off of his offensive skills. The fact that he's taught him how to raise to the rim, how to slip when pickers try to double team him. He's just very efficient. And I felt like last night's game, he sort of pulled Golden State into trying to play his style of play. And again, he's the best one-on-one player in the game.
That is not...
Yes, it's not even particularly close, to be honest with you. Right now, Kyrie is dynamic, but when you have a player like a James Harden averaging 33, 34 points a game, right now it's discernible. When I say that it's not close, I mean that the disparity between Kyrie and James Harden is very discernible. At one time, it was not, at least in my view. I would have said, you know what, Kyrie, when you give him his own part of the floor to work off of or to work on in front of his defender one-on-one, or James Harden, it's pretty close. Right now, I can't say that it's that close, or at least that it's close enough where it's not easy to differentiate. James Harden is clearly the best one-on-one player in the NBA.
This is high praise coming from you. That's not a light statement.
He's like there's a lot of exaggeration when people try to point out things.
Right, but Amin Al-Hassan, I think that part of the exaggeration is a reflection of the way in which James Harden plays. He plays in a very exaggerated format. His style is very exaggerated. He only takes long three-point shots or drives to the basket. He flops, he flails, he tumbles, he falls, he acts. So It's a reflection of his game. The appraisal of his game is a reflection of his game.
They tend to exaggerate, and what ends up happening is exaggeration takes over reality. So, yes, he draws a lot of fouls. Yes, free throw shooting is not fun to watch. But to make it seem like he's scoring 40 points a game on 40 free throws,
right,
which is what the conversation sounds like. Look, half of his game is stuff like this. Step backs and cross and play.
Right, what I mean. James Harden has taken about 1,700 more free throws than the next closest player, who I believe was Russell Westbrook. And isn't it so ironic? I always link James Harden to Russell Westbrook, because to me they play a very similar style when it comes to the game of basketball, even though I think that Russell Westbrook has reeled it back a lot this season.
The type of plays that we usually value as just as viewers.
Right.
But because he gets the free throw line more often than anyone else, we kind of twist that into all he does is shoot free throws, which is ridiculous. And so,
well, that's because people believe that he gets so many foul calls that he does not deserve. That's why they tend to accentuate the free throw aspect of his offensive game.
So, like Scottie said, look, he's been great.
Right.
And, yeah, let me see this number right here.
Same.
And beyond that, he also has the record for most points accounted for by one player in the entire season through points and assists. So he's a very successful player. I don't know. People who are going to hate him, they're not going to watch last night and change their mind, because they're only going to focus on the certain things that they don't like about him. But this has been true of him for the last 3 or 4 years, really.
Yes, I mean, I agree. He's been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years. But the question has always been, how realistic is what he's doing in the regular season if it does not translate over into the postseason, where he constantly falls short? So right now, James Harden is going to get a reprieve when it comes to how people view him and his game until we get to the playoffs. And that's going to be the referendum on James Harden. Okay, we get it. You can average 30 a game in the regular season. Now, when we get to the playoffs, to the first round, the second round, the third round, can you at least do something commensurate with what you've been doing in the regular season? If you can do that, your team is going to have a very good chance of getting to the finals. But anyway, peace.